Well, I came back from Florida in March, and then at the end of March, towards the end of March, I found out I had this big lump in my liver, and I had no idea. So I was kind of confused, and I didn't know what to do. And I had several options that I could use. It was not curable. They already told me that. First thing they said was, "This is not curable." And I had it in the lymph nodes already, so it was already metastasized. So I said, I can't go through all that therapy for 85-year-old, and it's not curable. It doesn't make sense. So I said, and God says, "I'll take you." And he came. I held my hand out, and he just took my hand and held it up, and he says, "I'll take you." And that's why it made me up my mind up. I knew then it was it. I wasn't going to go to all those other things. And I felt really good. And I am so peaceful. God has got me so strong in all this. I just feel so good about everything. And so happy that everything's turned out, And I know God's with me all the time. I sometimes will tear-eyed. That's because I just think about my friends, and my relatives, and my co-workers and stuff. It's just a great time.
The first thing that comes to mind when I think about my mom is just caring and always loving and accepting of us, even when we were not doing the right thing sometimes.
Well, Grandma Shirley was always the fun grandma for me. I was so excited to go to her house, and there was always treats there and games, and she was always so happy to see us and would give us big hugs.
She's always been the kind of person that would be warm to all of our friends, to anybody who needed help, anybody who wanted to come over, stay overnight. She was just a warm person, and that reflected in our family, and that reflected in all of our friends that knew her and knew us. That they all knew that she was quite the most friendly person just open arms kind of person.
She's somebody who has a tenacious faith and a resolute love for Jesus, and a lot of wisdom that seems to have been acquired through holding on to that faith through a lot of difficult times and a lot of joyous times too.
I think after Memorial Day.
She's a year and a half older than I am, and she was a caretaker of mine, protector.
Maybe it's something Pelican Lake, yeah. Pelican Lake. Yeah, I think it's Pelican Lake.
She was a nurse when I was growing up, and she oftentimes those kids were, we had 5 boys, and we'd come in banged up and bleeding or whatever.
The fact that she's been able to survive us 5 boys and my dad and all the stuff we put her through. I mean, I don't know how she kept her sanity.
I put my parents through a lot growing up. I wasn't always a model teenager.
I actually felt sorry for her because when we were growing up with 5 boys, taking care of us 5 boys, it was chaos for her. And I think we kind of maybe drove her nuts sometimes. With that being said, I can say that she's probably the most patient woman alive because she had to be patient with us because we were just so, we're just bad kids.
I always had a refuge. I always had a place that God put me that I could feel comfort with Him ever since I was a little girl. And there was many days where I was angry. And we went through a lot of stuff when I was married. And with the boys, it was easy to raise 5 boys. But it was okay. I just love them all. They're so great now.
Even going through all the hardships that I watched her go through with Lauren and Jim, I really saw how much faith she had in God.
She's just always been so tough through all of the adversity she's had in her life. You know, she's been married twice. She lost 2 husbands, one my dad, and she's been strong through it all, and she guides us through it all.
I think her positive outlook on life is the thing that I always admire.
She has a genuine Christ-like love that it's really you don't see very often in people.
She taught me so much, not even by saying this is to teach you, it's just through example.
She was the one that also told me that she remembered me giving my faith, like giving myself to Jesus.
I think she taught me to be kinder to people, you know, not be so judgmental. When she raised her 5 boys and survived, that was a great lesson to me that I could do the same thing with 2 boys and 2 girls.
I've watched her take care of both of Jim and our grandpa Lauren, and I feel like she's very inspirational just in how much she dedicates herself to those who she loves.
I just love how resilient and optimistic she is. No matter what happens in life, she looks to God and she looks for comfort from her family and her friends, and she just says, hey, this happens in life, but it's gonna get better. And she picks herself up and she moves on, and I've always really admired her about her ability to do that.
I just feel this is the way to go. Why do we want to funerals when we can have a happy time before we live? God wants us to have a joyous life. And that's what I feel, and I strongly feel that way. So that's where I'm at. And I'm so glad that you guys all came. I really am. And actually raising my husband too, because he was part of the family. He was one of the boys. He was like the 6th boy. But I do miss him. And my second husband was like a real strong friend. He was a person that comforted me, and I could comfort him when he went through his dementia, and I felt good about that. So my life has been full, and God has always led me through this all.
Parking worked out okay? I remember being placed into a crib and watching her walk out, and I just wanted to reach back out and didn't want her to leave, and she would turn around and she just had just so much comfort and warmth.
You know, she used to call me at work. Sometimes she had a knack for calling me if I'm on an extension ladder and I got both hands full and phone rings. Oh no, I get the phone. Hi Brad, what are you doing? And you know, it would be annoying at the time sometimes because you know, you can't be pulling away like that, but just things like that I'll miss.
The biggest memories I have are like our camping trips and trips to the Boundary Waters canoe area. Yeah, those were really etched in my memory.
The cabin's a big memory. You know, every year going to the cabin, swimming and playing what was that game that they had? The Mad TV game that we all played all the time.
I have a lot of memories up north, like up at the cabin on Lake Adley.
Going fishing and catching all the fish and playing board games all night.
I remember when I was probably 4, she was probably 3 or even 2. And I remember us going to, we lived in a farm in South Dakota. And through our farm ran a spring and it would go back and forth. So there were 3 bridges that were on that. But there was a perfect swimming pool on one of them. So we used to go down there almost every single day and go swimming.
She balanced the house, taking the kids, and working from all through those kids growing up, And they're doing really well, We lost Timmy, but, stuff like that you can't prevent,
My 2 brothers and my Dale's wife, Alice, and Nettie, and Arnold's wife, Nettie, and I and Shirley used to get together at her house because she didn't have a car, so we came here. But when she had a car, we would get to St. Cloud and we'd get together, and it would be 4, 5, 6 hours at a restaurant that they'd put up with us visiting, and I know we're gonna miss her when we do that again.
I remember one time when I was playing in the barn at Grandpa's house, Grandpa Bill's, and we were in the hay barn and we were hanging on, pulling each other on a rope, swinging in the hay bales, and I fell off and I fell like 15 feet and thought I broke my arm, but she just slung that up and I was good to go again, and I didn't break an arm, but she was there to figure out what was going on, and she took care of things for us, so she was always there for us.
We met at church, and it's just a joy to see her on Sunday mornings. She is such a true worshiper, and just so thankful to be able to run the race with Shirley.
She's just a steady force in my life, and always loving, always caring, non-judgmental. She's just a perfect idea of a good mother.
She's so tough. She's been through so much, and even with what's going on now, she doesn't complain. She doesn't. That's not her nature. She doesn't want to be a complainer, but I don't ever see her complaining about any of this, and it helps me deal with what's going on now. When I get to that point, I hope that I have the same level of comfort and joy.
She's written like probably 5, 6 books now since my dad died, and some of them are very impressive books, about family life, but also about working through his suicide when he passed away. And then also the second husband's dementia issues. She wrote books on that so that she could share this information with other people. I think that's really courage. Well, it takes a lot of courage to do that.
She's a woman of faith and of commitment and passion and loyalty, and like she fights till the end for what is good.
The love of Christ that she shows to people day in and day out. And of course, as evidenced here, not just her spiritual family, but her grandchildren and her children and her brothers and sisters. There's this obvious that she's made an investment of love over years in many people, and just one of many things I could sing her praises about.
I feel like just being around her and seeing how good her faith is with God just kind of brought me closer towards.
Thank you. Thank you for being that inspiration of faith and of a strong role model, of a woman, of a wife, of a mom, of a grandma, of a great grandma. Thank you for never giving up on us, on your kids and your grandkids. Her God and like the encouragement of prayer that she's had for all of us. And like her encouragement to me to keep trusting God. I'm gonna miss that.
I'm going to miss the way my heart feels happy every time I see her on Sunday morning.
Shirley, I just watched a video on what size and great heaven is and how beautiful it is. And I know that Jesus is going to be standing there, open her hands, welcome you, and you're going to be seeing my mom and dad, your son Tim. I'm kind of jealous. So I'll miss you. I love you.
I'm just gonna miss her big smile and her hugs, and just she was always there for those big moments in my life to support me and encourage me, and just always the joy of Jesus coming from her.
I am so peaceful. God has got me so strong in all this. I just feel so good about everything, and so happy that everything's turned out, you know. And I know God's with me all the time. I just want to thank you all. So, I'm okay. I really am. And everybody, and my friends, and all my church friends, and all were crying. They were praying for healing. Well, I'm going to have a healing, one way or the other. I'm not worried about what time or when or what. Okay? So I'm really okay with this. I know God has got me. I just want to thank everybody for being my friend, for being my counselor, for being my helpmate, and all my relatives and family. I love you all, and I want to God bless you all, and help that you have a wonderful life. And this is a joy day. Remember the God that gave us a day of joy, and this is the day we live in today, and all days. So that's what I want to say. I want you all to be happy.
I just want to say, Mom, I love you so much. I know I don't say it enough. I know that in these last days, we need to say that to each other every day, because God only knows our days, and tomorrow may be too late.
Mom, love you very much. Thank you for everything you've done for all the men in your family. Lauren, myself, Craig, Brad, Jeff, Tim. I admire your courage in this time, and it's an inspiration to me, and it's really sends a powerful message about what we all have to look forward to in Christ. And I really, really appreciate the faith that you have blossomed into in the last decade or so. It has been an inspiration to me as well. So I just wanted to say, keep pressing ahead, looking forward, because the better days are ahead for you than you can possibly imagine.
She's walking into a kingdom that she spent her whole life looking forward to.
She's just someone you want to be like when you grow up. When I grow up, I want to be like Grandma. You were loyal, you were loving, and now you're with Jesus. And it's not a goodbye, it's a see you later.
The great thing about Shirley's faith and the hope that she has in the gospel is that we're all waiting for the great day of resurrection that he's promised and the return of Jesus, that death is not the final answer, that he's going to raise us to life.
I just want to say thank you, Shirley, for all that you've done for us and I and our kids and her kids. Yeah, I'm going to miss her dearly. So, anyway, pretty special gal.